Hello and welcome to another Avid Engage video. Today we're coming to you from our Bloomdale community in Victoria. And today I'm joined by Andrea Lucina Orr from Dulux. So Andrea is going to be taking us through latest trends, give us some information about colours, and welcome Andrea.
Thank you so much, Marita. Thank you for having me. Colour is such an important area in our homes. It's something that connects us to the space. So it's really important that when people are thinking about colour, they don't just sort of select it for the colour per se. They think about the functional use of the space, who's going to be residing in that space, especially for bedrooms. Yes. Thinking about your children and getting them involved in the decision, you know, if they're sort of a little bit older. And importantly, those all those nuances with colour, so whites and neutrals in particular, where there's undertones. So we can talk about that in a little bit more detail as well.
Okay, that sounds great. And we've also heard the term that whites are not whites. So that's can you take us through what that might mean?
Absolutely. So just as an example, just looking at some of the whites here, you can see there's a lot of whites and neutrals, which are, you know, very popular colours in the Dulux sort of range. But you'll see that some are whiter than others. So when we fan out colours, or when we put colours together and compare colours, that's where we can see all those little nuances of what undertones there may be. And even if you look at something like this, you can see it's such a huge variety of whites and neutrals, but each one of them have their own nuance.
Yes.
So it's really important how we see those undertones is by comparing colours together.
Okay.
So when you're doing your final colour selection, we would definitely recommend, if you're down to 3 colours, using sample pots on cardboard and moving them around the house and seeing them under different lighting. So have them up for 3 days, see on a bright sunny day, see it on a dull rainy day, under artificial lighting at night as well, because all of that will impact on how that colour is actually perceived.
Okay, and perception is an important thing, so
it is.
Everybody has a different perception of colour.
They do indeed, and that's why it's important to bring the colour back to your home. Don't ever just select a colour when you're in a hardware store. Bring it back to your home in your lighting conditions, next to your finishes. You know, it's a great example. We're in a kitchen space here. People spend a lot of money on kitchens,
yes.
And they're fixtures and fittings that last a long time. So hence we don't want to put a colour in here that's going to completely throw the beautiful colours of the kitchen that's in existence. So you need to work in with those undertones that are already here.
Okay, and when you talk about undertones, what does that actually mean?
So when we're thinking about a beige colour, for example, and it might be, you know, this particular colour here, we know that that's beige, but when we start to put it with other beige colours, you'll start to see other undertones coming through. One might be more red based, one might be more yellow based, one might be more green based. Until we physically visualise those together, that's when we can start to see those little nuances come through. And it's the same with, you know, even holding up these whites here. When we're looking at these, you can start to see that that's a warmer white and this is a cooler white here. And if you wanted to hone in on, I'm not sure whether I like warmer or cooler whites, you could actually then start to look at that with your kitchen and say, well, actually, that is a bit too creamy for here. We might be better with a whiter white, if you like, or a cooler white here. So until you physically start visualising those colours with your fixtures and fittings and your furniture, you know, your favourite artwork, your sofa, it might be your bed head, things like that you don't particularly want to change every year.
Yes.
Also flooring, carpet colours, they have their own undertones. So you have to understand that moving those colours from room to room, and remember that the lighting will be different in each of those rooms as well, will have an effect on how that colour is perceived.
Okay, and the lighting is important as well. You've got different types of lighting.
Correct. Lighting is critical to actually how you view a colour. So each room is normally on a different aspect in a home. So you might face north, and that's where your lounge and living space is. So obviously you're going to get that sort of brighter light, if you like, and also the heat of the day. So maybe that's where cooler colours might come into play there, like soft blues and greens, something like that, that's going to perceptually feel cooler. And And then on the south side, where it's obviously the darkest side of the home and also has a slight bluish influence, that's where you might want to start bringing in something slightly warmer. So even if you're in the middle of Queensland and you still want a cooler space, you might decide to go with something like natural white there, which has that subtle neutral warmth in a white rather than a creamy white, just as an example.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for watching another Avid Engage video. We'll be back again with Andrea for another episode, and we hope to see you next time on Avid Engage.
Thank you.